Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second draft, where we take your week 4 picks and put them in a Ninja blender. And this is not an ad, by the way. Maybe we can put that down here at the bottom. But
I don't
yeah.
actually own a Ninja blender, so yeah.
Oh, I got one. It was
Yeah.
it was an early wedding gift from my parents. Thanks, Mom and Dad, if you're
Nice.
watching. Anyway, this past week was nuts. What happened there? I mean, I'm so far behind now in picks. I must be maybe at that 50-50 mark now.
Yeah, I made what I thought were some bold predictions that just didn't pan out. Like I picked the Browns to beat the Bengals, and I was very, very, very wrong. There was somebody
Yeah,
else
they
I
don't
think
have
I
the
picked.
juice.
Yeah, I picked the Niners to beat the Cardinals, which seemed on paper like a very wise choice, and it would have been if not for that magnificent bastard we all know and love, Larry fucking Fitzgerald. You
Larry, a legend.
amazing living god of a man.
Yeah, he's a monster. He's
He's
so
never gonna stop
reliable.
being a monster. Yeah.
I love this. Is the only part of listening to those commentators during the games is because they say future Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald, and they're
Yeah.
totally right.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I love hearing that when he walks on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Have you ever heard the SAP commentators for the Cardinals?
Probably.
It's the Spanish commentators. Yeah, they commentate and they announce the game like it's a soccer match, like a football match.
Yes, yeah. One
So
time I listened.
yeah, so when Larry
I think it was on your
scores,
recommendation too.
yeah. It's better than like the NBC or Fox or whatever announcers because the dude, like I said, he announces the game like a football match, like a soccer match, and he just goes fucking berserk whenever Larry Fitzgerald catches the ball. He's like Laddie, Fitzgerald. It's fucking great.
Yes.
The dude's like
That's
like a
awesome.
local legend, and nobody knows what it looks like. It's great. Yeah.
It reminds me of that Robin Williams skit where he talks about golf, and he's like, "I want the guy who does Spanish soccer to do golf one time." Man,
Yeah.
and with a sport that I love, such as football, man, that sounds fantastic. I think I listened to it one time. I got to go back to that.
Yeah.
So, what are you sipping on this evening?
What I've got going today is the Weihenstephaner, which is they tout themselves as being the oldest brewery on the planet, and apparently
Wow.
they were established in 1040. So what I've got going on is a Hefeweiss beer Dunkel, which is a dark wheat beer. Of course, being one of the oldest breweries on the planet, maybe the oldest, they adhere very closely to the Weihenstephaner, which is that very old, centuries old, Bavarian purity law for brewing beer, which says that you can basically only brew beer with white water, barley or wheat, and hops. So all their beers are super pure, super clean tasting. So yeah, I'm excited to jump into this one. I've had it before. I'm a huge fan of German food and like German
Like sausages?
well, yeah, no, like sausages, like Wiener Schnitzel, like everything. Like there's a place here in Arizona in Glendale called House Murphy, which is fantastic. It still isn't quite as good as one of the dining halls in Frankenmuth, Michigan, actually, which was just fantastic. But yeah, I'm a big fan of German beer. This is like the quintessential German beer. Apparently, it's supposed to taste of clover and mature banana.
Interesting.
I don't know how they get those flavors with the Reinheitsgebot, the purity laws, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a try. Why don't you talk about what you're drinking while I enjoy this
Well, you
tasty beverage?
imbibe beer, tasty beverage. Well, I went full American with this Redlands, California Hangar 24 beer. It's just their Betty IPA. I haven't had it before, so I'm looking forward to something new.
Nice.
6.5 ABV seems like a pretty standard IPA, but I'll tell you about it more in a little bit, I guess. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, this is very good. Very, very crisp, clean. It's a little murky. I don't know if it's pasteurized or not. I'm not sure, but I think it's like 5.6 ABV, 5.3 ABV actually. I would say it's probably really low on the IBU scale as well, being a wheat beer. But you can definitely taste the clove. It's almost got like a toffee flavor to it, and that very light banana flavor to it. It's really good.
Cool.
So
Yeah, this one has a lot more tangerine than I would have expected. It's got like that West Coast IPA, definitely like throwing in the citrus,
That's
and
citrusy,
this
yeah.
is definitely no exception. So
Yeah.
I'm not displeased with it though. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm a fan of those if they don't overdo it, which
Yes.
unfortunately a lot of breweries have recently, and everybody's got to throw in their citrus variety for the IPA. But I think they pair really well, and this one does it pretty well. It's tangy, which is kind of obscure, but it
Yeah,
works.
cool. Yeah, it does seem like the whole IPA thing kind of comes and goes in waves of fads. Like right now, it's very citrusy for a very short window, and I kind of wished it was going to stick around for a while. Was the New England style
Yep.
IPAs, which is that unpasteurized
Hazy, yeah.
hazy. Yeah, they call them hazy IPAs. I was a big fan because it was a way, like I think I've said before on this series about how the New England IPAs were kind of a way to bring the IPA more mainstream without kind of making them overly sweet or tapping them too early, not allowing the yeast to do their job. So it was a way to produce a really high quality IPA that was also the hop was more on the front end on the nose as opposed to in the body, so it wasn't terribly bitter. So if you weren't familiar with
Hmm.
IPAs, it was something you could approach easily and kind of develop your palate for it. But all of a sudden, that's kind of faded away, and like you said, everybody's going like citrusy and sweet and tangerines and oranges, and it's okay, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think some people must associate the bitterness of the hop with the ABV, and so if they're drinking something like that, they'll want to be able to taste that they're drinking something with a high ABV,
Yeah,
something like a precautionary measure of some sort. But
right.
that's only a small group of people that I've talked to about it that have kind of come back with that
Hmm.
mentality. But I mean, for me, I can tell either way, so it's yeah, it's
Yeah,
not much of a difference.
yeah. No, I'm not of the mind that ABV equals more. I mean, I'm not a fan of necessarily tasting the alcohol in the beer I'm drinking. I'm a big fan of like dank triples, for example. I really like the high ABVs. Clearly not sessionable. You wouldn't drink more than like 3 or 4 of them in a sitting. Maybe
Yeah,
no more
maybe
than
more
two, unless
than
you're feeling brave.
two.
Where you're
Yeah.
gonna, yeah, if it's like Sunday football at the brewery and you're gonna camp out all day. But no, I'm a fan of high ABV beers, but I don't equate high ABV with quality or the taste or the hoppiness or anything like that. I mean, you and I in our travels have had many a
Mhm.
high IBU IPA that has low ABV, and then vice versa. So yeah, it's all just a matter of balance, I think. So
Yeah, and I think it's difficult to not go to a place like Scottsdale Beer Company where we're kind of spoiled by really well done high ABV beers.
right, right,
But not every single one of them is going to land. So I've
true.
definitely branched out to other breweries to try their high ABV stuff, and
Hmm.
I would say it's probably one out of every three that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, yeah, it's a tricky process. So we're very
Yeah.
lucky that our favorite haunt as a brewmaster. I think we've sung his praises probably like 20 times at this point. But
Hmm.
yeah, the brewmaster at Scottsdale Beer Company, like he fucking knows his IPAs. Like I would say he's probably master
That he
level
does.
IPA brewer. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Should we talk
Cool.
about
Let's
football in this football video, or
let's talk about football.
that sounds pretty good. So I mean, we touched on last week a little bit. There were some shockers. There were some not so shockers. Bears lost to the
Hmm.
Packers. Um, the Bears finally got hip to what everybody else in the world realized, and that's that Mike Glennon is not their quarterback. So
Nope.
next week they're going to give Mitch Trubisky a try. They're going to let him spin his wheels a little bit against the Vikings. So if you play fantasy football, this would be the week to pick up the Vikings defense on your
Yeah.
waivers.
I was gonna say it's gonna be a pretty good test for
Yeah,
Trubisky there, but
it's
I
going
don't
to
know.
be
I think he could
rough.
probably put up some points. I thought the Vikings were coming in pretty hot, but they've kind of fallen flat
Yeah.
since they played the Saints. Really,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had a prediction last week that you thought the Vikings were going to be a really strong, solid home team. And I think you and Paige both picked the Vikings. I think I picked the Lions. Not to brag, but you guys were totally justified in your pick. But like you said, they've really cooled down. So,
yep,
yeah.
definitely. I mean, I expected big things. I thought Thielen was going to put up some more points, but
I thought so.
nope.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I was pleasantly surprised by the Lions. I saw a couple games so far this season where I'm going, I don't really know what the Lions are going to do, and they continue to kind of impress me week after
Yeah.
week. Um,
Yeah.
so I think,
Whether it's like a solid win or they squeak by, kind of like they did this past week, they're still
yep,
winning. So,
yeah,
yeah.
one score does it.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson, oh my
My God.
goodness.
He just somebody used a cheat code on that kid, man. Like it stings. I'm so happy that he's doing well, but and I've said this before, it's my homer thing to say that the
Yep.
Houston Texans very very obviously sniped the Cardinals and they yanked him. And good on them because they desperately needed a quarterback. They had nothing going on, and now maybe they have actually found somebody who's going to stick. And I don't begrudge them for that. That's great. But the kid was just on fucking fire. And I've been high on the Titans this entire season, and they just kind of made the Titans look like the... I can't say Bills anymore. Let's say Jets.
The Jets and even the Jets pulled out a win last week. So
yeah,
I mean,
Jaguars.
yeah, I was on the Titans hype train too, and I even sat.
But
I sat the Texans D, and I really didn't think they were going to do anything. They put up something like 22 points. Is unbelievable.
Yeah. No, it was nuts. And Mario got hurt. He's got a hamstring injury, so they're going to be looking at, a backup quarterback situation for maybe the next week. Who knows? He's listed as questionable for the time being, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. This week in practices and whatnot. See if he's able to come back or not. But
this might be another situation like the Raiders last year, though. When you lose a weapon like that, what happens? I mean, in the Raiders again this year, evidently for the next, what did you say, 2 to 6 weeks, right?
Yeah. Derek Carr suffered a what did I say it was?
His vertebrae is a back injury that he's got.
Yeah, it's your vertebrae has these little wings on the side of them, and it just escaped me what it's called, but it was the exact same injury that Tony Romo had in his last season before he was kind of forcefully retired and replaced by Dak Prescott. But you've got these little weird wing type things on the side of your vertebrae, and one of his is fractured. So
transverse process.
Transverse process. Thank you. Yeah. So it's not something they can really set. It's not really something you would go in and like surgically repair either. It's just one of those things like a collarbone, but not nearly severe, where you kind of have to just let it heal itself. So he could be out for 2 weeks. He could be out for 6 weeks. It just matters, how well his rehab is going and, what he's able to do with it. And if he's able to not re-injure it or whatever, like Romo ended up doing. So, but interesting bit of news is the fact that in the case that he's not going to be able to come back, the Titans have signed Brandon Weeden, of all fucking people.
Oh, man.
And if you're not familiar with Brandon Weeden, that's perfectly fine because you shouldn't be. He wasn't good enough to stick around with the Browns. He wasn't good enough to stick around with the Titans. He's just, it's
not a great situation there.
No, not at all.
I mean, that's why people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to dive into that too much more. I was sad to see Derek Carr go down, but I was really happy to see my Broncos take that W.
Yeah, and they took that really heavy divisional win. They're going to take that right into the bye week. They're going to come out of that bye week rested, and they're going to be all fired up. It'll be good.
Yeah, it was a good week to win for sure.
Yeah, you always want to win right before your bye week, especially against a divisional rival. Absolutely. Yeah, it just sets you up for a nice little vacation, some light practices, and then you come back and you're ready to go. Yeah. So week 5.
Let's talk week 5. I'm not
week 5.
Overly excited.
Nor should you be. Nor should you be. No, you really shouldn't be excited about this. This is a shit week of football, folks. So, I mean, if you want to... we always put the picks down at the bottom, the helmets. We show the picks up above. You could probably easily put this on like 4 times the speed if you wanted to, or just kind of, drag the little scroll bar and see what we picked and write them down so you know who not to pick. Yeah. But we're here, we're drinking, so we may as well get into it. So Thursday night football is the Patriots and the Buccaneers. So
you want to go
colleague,
first?
I'll
go
let
first.
you go first. Yeah.
Are you talking about Paige, or do we get her
Paige this week? She is our most esteemed colleague. She definitely knows more about football than both of us combined, but she had a prior engagement, so we will be filling in her picks up here, and she has supplied me with them, so she doesn't want to lose that bet and end up wearing some, fucking
terrible Steelers jersey,
like Richard Sherman jersey or something.
Oh, yeah. Sherman would be good.
That'd be good for Paige. Yeah. Yeah. So Patriots at Buccaneers. Yeah,
I'm going with the Patriots here. I do like what the Buccaneers have been doing, but Patriots, they're just I think last week was a fluke. Not entirely. I think Carolina's picking up a little bit of steam, but yeah, Patriots.
I agree. It's going to be the Patriots, but I don't think last week was a fluke. I think the Patriots defense kind of got exposed a little bit. I think they got some shit to work out because their game to win or lose, and that defense just blew coverage the entire day. Like they just left people. There was several instances where Kelvin Benjamin was running a route alongside the wide receiver. They had him loaded up on the left hand side, and they just completely blew coverage. So they kept going with the receiver that was running the vertical, and like Kelvin Benjamin would run like a button hook or something, and he would just be standing on the field all by himself, just like,
Yeah, wide open.
hey Kim, oh hey, and he would throw the ball to him, and he would like once he gets the ball, he's a power runner, so he would clear like 10, 15, 20 yards every time he would catch it like that. But the defense was just non-existent. So,
Yeah, I had to catch this one on highlights. I didn't want to cut you off, sorry, but
no, you're good.
yeah, usually the Patriots are able to put up the necessary amount of points to make that comeback, regardless. So, I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe it's wrong to call it a fluke, but I was still surprised to see this outcome. I did hear what Cam Newton had to say afterwards, and he couldn't say anything other than people are always talking about Tom Brady is better than me, and I had to prove people wrong today, and I don't know. I
didn't.
Yeah, he put up some big points, but yeah, that I wasn't. I was surprised to see that he outscored Tom Brady. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think that the Patriots defense made Cam Newton look better than Cam Newton made Cam Newton look.
That's a good way to put it.
That correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, let's stick with that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think the Patriots are going to win, but that defense is going to have to make some serious adjustments and figure a lot of shit out. So Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia have got their work cut out for them, because that Buccaneers offense is fucking prolific. Like Jameis Winston keeps getting better and better and better, and they got their running back coming back. He was suspended, so Jaquiz Rodgers has been pretty decent, but now it's Muscle Hamster.
Muscle Hamster.
I can't remember his real name right now, but he's coming back. So he's a damn good running back. He's a good downhill runner. So Patriots are gonna have to wake the fuck up, and they're gonna have to figure some shit out if they want to win this game.
The Buccaneers, like they're coming off of a win, but they're coming off a win on the Giants. So I'm not really.
Yeah.
They're not going to put up points, like that many points against the Patriots.
I don't think so either. Yeah, Paige is also going Patriots, so I'm going to put that up there. Yeah. And next up, we got the Jets and the Browns.
I got, oddly enough, I didn't think I'd be picking this team this season. I'm going to go with the Jets. I don't think the Jets are any good. But they're going to beat the Browns. The Browns have not been able to do anything.
No. If there was ever a week for them to do something, it was last week against the Bengals, and they just shat the bed, and then they changed the sheets, and they shat the bed again. So, I agree. It's going to be the Jets, and Paige also agrees it's going to be the Jets.
We anticipated a close game with the Bengals Browns last week, and we were proven wrong. I think just the Jets are coming off a win, an overtime win. I still think they're just going to run right through them. They beat the Jaguars. They're a little bit hyped up.
Yeah.
They're facing the Browns, which isn't, they're going to look at this as their opportunity to kind of let loose a little bit and flex. And I think they're going to do that on the Browns for sure.
I agree. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So next up, we got a cat game. We got the Panthers and the Lions. Two apex predators fighting it out in the jungle or the savannah or whichever. I don't know.
Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah, wherever those big cats. We'll just call it the zoo. Yeah.
Wherever they do that thing.
Yeah. I'll take the lead on this one. I think it's going to be the Lions.
They're playing at home. They are in the savannah, so...
Yeah. Does it have to be a trap game, or does it has to involve a divisional rival for it to be a trap game, right? Because I mean, this would technically be. This would more or less be a trap game for the Panthers, which is why I think they're going to lose. I mean, you come off beating the Super Bowl champion, Patriots squad. They're going to go to Detroit, and I don't know. I think the Lions are going to sneak up on them and surprise them. I don't think that defense is going to sleep like the Patriots defense did. So that might be my upset of the week. I'm going to say Lions.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a pretty bold pick. I'm going Panthers on this one. I have been impressed by the Lions since the beginning of this season. They've kind of proven my initial assumptions wrong, but I still don't think they have what it takes to beat the Panthers right now, they can just score too much,
Yeah, fair enough. No, it's a very astute pick. I agree. Paige agrees with me, however. She's going
Cool.
Lions.
Right on.
So, yeah, this is your opportunity to get one up on us. So.
All right.
So next up, we've got the Niners at the Colts, and Paige has announced that this is her garbage game of the week. I don't know if I agree, but this is definitely a garbage game
It's
taking
pretty bad.
place this week. So I'll let her go first. She thinks the Niners are going to beat the Colts. We may as well just move on. I agree.
Yep.
The Niners are probably going to beat the Colts.
Agreed.
Yeah, unanimous. Move on.
Yep.
Cool. All right, Titans at Dolphins.
Titans at Dolphins. This is not really a tough one for me. Titans. I
Really?
think they're gonna be coming off of. I mean, wow, the Saints just trounced the Dolphins, and I think that the Titans, even regardless of Mariota, I think they're gonna be able to pull this one out. I think they have enough weapons. I just don't know that the Dolphins are gonna be able to do anything spectacular. If they, I'd be happy to be proven wrong here, but I got Titans this week.
Sure. I'm going to say Titans too, but my choice hinges very much on that Dolphins run defense, because when you've got Brandon Weeden suddenly under center, and I'm basing all this on the fact that Mariota may or may not play. I'm going to assume he's not going to play because he should be out at least 1 week. He's, again, listed as questionable, but he should, by all accounts, be out. The fact that they've gone out and they've signed Brandon Weeden means that they're expecting him to be out, and he just should be, just for the sake of healing. So Brandon Weeden under center means that the entire day is going to be the Titans' run game, which is possibly the most formidable run game on paper in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that up against the Dolphins' run defense, I got to go with the Titans too. So, Paige says Dolphins.
Interesting.
Interesting pick indeed.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins just haven't been able to do anything this season to impress me,
Yeah.
and I don't know, nothing stands out as like yeah, I think the Titans still have it. They're the overall better team.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Moving on, we've got the Bills and the Bengals, and I am hesitant to say this, but for our resident Bills fan, who he's a good dude, by the way. He seems really cool. He comments on all the weekly videos. He's great. I'm officially going to say that I'm no longer going to sleep on the Bills this season.
Yep.
My prediction was they were tanking just like the Jets were, and they weren't going to do shit, but what they pulled out last week, yeah, I'm taking them to win against the Bengals.
I actually picked the Bills as well.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned 2 weeks ago that I now have to be a pseudo Bills fan for at least the next 4 weeks, but that is not why I picked them this week. I think they've got to be so amped right now after beating the Falcons. That's insane.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I anticipated the Falcons. I thought they were one of the few teams that might have a chance to just like play shutdown season, and I was really, really surprised to see the Bills pull that one out.
I think even the Bills themselves were shocked, if we're being completely honest. I mean, we made a big production last week about the Falcons just going in and trouncing the Bills. Let's just say, you know what, Mr. Bills guy on YouTube, we're all going to go
Bills,
Falcons.
man.
Let's move on.
We're all going Falcons.
Falcons.
Because...
Ding, 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 ding. I'm going to put the Falcons logo all over the fucking screen. It's going to be
like a slot machine. Like
I'm literally
yeah, with
ticker.
the 777s.
I'm just going to put
Falcons. Yeah.
right now, note to future DT, Giants Falcons logo across the screen right now. That's it. It's Falcons. Let's move on. And apparently the Bills are like the spooky team this year. Like, you're not sure which Bills team you're going to face. Like, they could just annihilate you, or they could play soft and play down. They're unpredictable at this point. Like, yeah. But against that really shitty Bengals offense and defense, I got to go with the Bills. Paige is also going Bills because the Bengals are fucking terrible. So, I think that at this point the Bengals are a known quantity, whereas the Bills are not. So always bet against, the unpredictable element. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chargers at Giants. I am calling this my official dumpster fire of the week simply because these teams are 0-4, both of them. Both of them. They're not a single win so far this season. That alone warrants them being, I think, the worst game this week. This is literally going to be who can be worse or better than the other worst team in the league.
Yeah,
be
who
fucking
can?
terrible.
Yeah, exactly. I think this will be oddly like a higher scoring game. I don't think it's going to be like single digits, but
Yeah.
I've got the Chargers picked for this game.
Hmm.
I still don't like the Giants. They haven't done anything to impress me.
They haven't done anything to impress anybody.
Yeah, I don't know. You expect them to pull out some like random big plays every now and then that might turn into scores, but other than that, when I watch this game, I'm watching the other team. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is shocking considering the talent they've got on the Giants. I mean, we've talked more about the fact that Eli's on the decline, but you've got OBJ who's still a playmaker, but a wide receiver is only as good as his quarterback, and Eli is just not there. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, look at what's happened to T.Y. Hilton a couple of games this season. He can't put up points.
Yeah, he's still making plays every once in a while, but
He is. Exactly, and it's the same situation with the Colts. So
exactly.
you watch they watch the game to watch the other team, but every now and then they're going to get a play out and they're going to do something.
Yeah. I gotta go Chargers too. I keep waiting for that Chargers defense to do something. You've got Melvin Ingram and you've got Joey Bosa, and they should be terrorizing every quarterback they go against, and so far they haven't. But against that Giants offensive line, which is fucking incredibly bad.
Yeah, they're gonna have a field day.
This might be the game where I'm fucking right, where those two actually do some fucking damage and shave a couple years off Eli Manning's life.
Poor guy.
Yeah, but no, I mean, they're both fucking terrible teams. That Chargers offense, I think, is still better than that Giants offense. I mean, Melvin Gordon's questionable; he's injured as well. Rivers finds a way to make plays, even if they aren't, amounting into wins. But yeah, I gotta go Chargers. So you're gonna go Chargers. I'm going Chargers. Paige is going Giants.
Yeah, all right, she's trying to do those obscure picks, trying to pull ahead.
Trying to secure a lead is what she's doing. She's risking it all. She's betting against the house. So yeah, I hope it doesn't pan out for her.
Yeah, same.
All right, so next up we got Jaguars and Steelers. The Jaguars are spooky as fuck, but I gotta go Steelers outright with this one.
I also chose the Steelers.
Yeah.
I don't like the Jags. They've been up and down, but still don't like them.
Yeah, they're unpredictable at this point. Not at the same capacity that the Bills are, but they are still unpredictable. But the Steelers have finally hit their stride, and they're coming off. I mean, again, this could be a trap game, but I don't think it's going to be, because the Ravens are just fucking awful. But no, it's going to be the Steelers, and Paige also says Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville's been up and down. I just briefly took a look at all their scores for the weeks, and it's ridiculous. Like, they beat the Texans, which, now the Texans are picking up some steam, but I literally cannot pick a team that loses to the Jets. So
no,
there we are.
Yeah, that's just football common sense.
Yeah. It's a pick that was made for me before I saw this Week 5 matchup.
Yeah. So this next game, now that I'm seeing it, I realize this is why Paige ended up having to take the week off. Because it's the Cardinals and the Eagles, and frankly, this is not a game in which you can, confidently say the Cardinals have a shot.
Nope.
I gave them the benefit of the doubt. Well, not necessarily. You and I both picked the Niners last week, even though we both kind of felt like the Cardinals had a chance. They ended up having to use, it took them overtime to beat, that struggling Niners team. Honestly, the Cardinals, I think, are on paper one of the worst teams in the league right now, and the Eagles are on the upswing. Carson Wentz is coming into his own. He's looking really good. Defense is solid. So I'm picking the Eagles.
I think Carson Palmer's still going to be icing all of his body for the foreseeable future. After how many times did he get sacked? Like six times. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I counted 7, but the official number right now is 6. Maybe they're calling one of those like a half sack, or maybe one of the things I thought was a sack was maybe just like a after the throw tackle or something. But
Doomerville broke. Yeah, Doomerville broke his 100, and that's. I mean, it was sad to watch. I mean,
yeah,
I like Doomerville. I think he's a great player. But I was
a huge fan when he was a Bronco. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really concerned for Carson this last week. Yeah. I'm glad they were able to pull it off because, like we said, Larry Legend. But
it was Larry. It's all there. Yeah.
I think I was listening. I actually old timey listened to this on the radio because I was running around, and yeah, I think they were saying this is one of the first games where there was seven. There were 7 field goals without a touchdown. It was going to be one of the first games that we had ever seen like that until that final score.
Yeah, it was. It was nothing but field goals until overtime.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just shit football. I mean, great if you're a fan of a kicker. Like, if you're like a big fan of, special teams. Like, if that's what you watch football for, then good for you. But for the other 99% of people watching football, that was a fucking terrible game that the Cardinals really had no business winning, honestly. But
I was wrong.
Niners, so
it was 8 and then a 9th. Did I do my math right there? Yeah, I don't know. There were a ton, way too many field goals. There were 9 field goals before the final touchdown because it was 15-12. And then they won 18-15. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just ugly as fuck.
Unbelievable. I've got the Eagles for this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody should have the Eagles. Yeah.
Be a crazy win for them. It'd be great. But I don't think they're ready for it.
No, I don't think the Cardinals are going to win in Philadelphia. No. No. I mean, Cardinals and Eagles games over the last, 5 to 6 years have been a lot of fun. They've been unpredictable. They've been a lot of really huge plays. They've been really good. It's almost like an unofficial rivalry between the two because you see that on the schedule and you think, that's going to be a fucking good game because it typically is. I don't see it this time around. I think the Cardinals are just playing without any heart, without any sort of direction. And like I said, the Eagles are on the up and up. So,
definitely,
yeah.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a fairly awesome and depressing note to, unless you're an Eagles fan, to, blow the whistle and call halftime, and we'll be back in a minute. And that was halftime. And, those wardrobe malfunctions are always shocking, but pretty welcome, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Janet.
I'm not going to tell you who had the wardrobe malfunction, but it was not a bad time for everybody, I think. So let's move on.
Let's move on. What are you sipping on since halftime's over?
So I switched it up, and now I'm drinking the Orange Blossom, which is a Mandarin wheat beer, which has got kind of a citrusy, orangey flavor up front with a vanilla finish, and it's from a local brewery called Papago here in Arizona. They're based out of Scottsdale. One of my favorite local beers. It's not necessarily a fall-time beer, but I went shopping, as I usually do when prepping for these videos, and I was like, that sounds fucking delicious with dinner. I'm going to grab a 6-pack of that.
Nice. Yeah. I like Orange Blossom. It's the only one from Papago, right? If I can remember right. I know a little bit about them. I actually worked across the street for a little bit. So I'm a fan of their brewing operations. What I've learned is that they only had room to brew the one beer. They actually outsourced a lot of that to a few different places, but from what I understand, they actually went with Huss Brewing. And the story behind that is that one of the managing partners that used to work at Papago, she left, surname Huss, and with her husband, I forget his name, I think it was Jeff.
It's probably also Huss.
Well, I meant his first name. It was Leah Huss was her name. And they left and started Huss Brewing, which is now one of the biggest breweries in Arizona. I think they're number 3 now, behind probably Four Peaks and maybe Lumberyard.
Yeah, Huss has just exploded. Like they've gained a whole lot of notoriety and a lot of popularity here. It's actually starting to spread throughout the Northwest or the Southwest. It's impressive what they've done, and they make great beers. So.
They do. They've got the all day IPA, Coffee Kolsch. I mean, some of the good stuff off the top of my head, but. They acquired Papago recently, but one of the cool things they're doing is they are keeping all of the branding for Papago Brewing because she had her brewing start there, and they understand that it's kind of a facet, like a big facet of the local brewing community, and Papago kind of helped put Arizona on the map a little bit with this beer.
Yeah, the Orange Blossom is almost like a staple of local beers at this point.
It definitely is.
It's understated, but it's popular as hell. So.
Yeah, I think one of the funny things is I usually offer this beer up to friends that are visiting, as something that might be a little bit more approachable if they're not ready for those West Coast IPAs that a lot of the breweries in the Valley are trying to do. And it's a good alternative to that. And to me, the aftertaste kind of has this kind of cookie crisp cereal. I just ate all my cereal and I'm drinking the milk kind of. You called it vanilla
flavor,
which is the more like Cicerone proper way to say that cookie crisp flavor. But I still really enjoy that beer. You know, it's got a lot of the things that I think people love about doing like a Blue Moon with an orange slice in it. That's never been one of my like favorite things, but I get it that a lot of people who enjoy, it's a good crossover for people who enjoy like a Hefeweizen and they're not really sure they want to venture into the IPA range. It's a good middle of the road kind of situation.
Yeah, that's cool. And of course, like you said, the story is great. Like, I'm a huge fan of when independent breweries end up buying up, other breweries that may be struggling or could be doing better, as opposed to what happens when, Anheuser-Busch rolls in and snatches up a brewery like Four Peaks or Elysian up in Seattle. And it dilutes the brand and it takes away the character and what makes that local brewery special. So, for Huss to do what they did to save Papago, to help them out, and for what Two Brothers did to help out Sleepy Dog was admirable as well. So, yeah, I think it's great when local breweries take care of each other and they absorb them rather than allow them to fade away or die or eventually be bought up by a huge conglomerate, which just ruins things for everybody. So,
yeah.
So good on you, Huss, and good on you, Papago, for making this delicious fucking Orange Blossom beer.
Yeah, and especially when they white label it like they're doing here. I'm sure that Huss might still appear on the can at some point, but in the meantime...
Let's see. Well, it says family owned and locally brewed. So and it does say Huss. Yeah, if you can see that, it does have the Huss logo and it says Huss Brewing up at the top near the Arizona State flag there.
Cool.
So yeah, so they have put their branding on it, but it's still very much like, a Papago beer. Like it says Papago on the front of the label underneath the Orange Blossom logo. So yeah.
And that was fairly recent too. I think it was just at the end of last year that they acquired Papago. So that's great to see. Great to see, like you said.
Yeah, more of that, less of Anheuser-Busch, please.
Yes, please.
So, yeah. Back to football.
Let's dive back in. I'm actually these are some of the picks I'm actually a little bit more excited for this week. We've saved them best for last, as we should.
This week is definitely backloaded with all the good games. I think we've kind of blown through all the shitty games. No offense to fans of the teams who are playing in these shitty games, but I mean, let's be honest, these are shitty games.
We've given the good ones their due, though. We've talked about it.
We gave the Bills their due, which
we did.
We're gonna have to keep giving them their due too, because I do think they're gonna win, and we'll see what happens in Week 6. But let's Seahawks are paying the Rams a visit, and I can see right now that there's gonna be way more 12s in that stadium than Rams fans. But I'm gonna give it to the Rams.
Yeah, this is maybe my game of the week, I think. I'm expecting a grudge match here, not necessarily like any beef coming into this game, but yeah, I think Seattle's coming off a ton of points last week. Mm-hmm. The Rams have just been looking good in general. They've really impressed me this season. My pick here is also the Rams. I don't know that Seattle's going to be able to keep up. I think they've just got a lot of momentum under them.
Yeah.
Them Rams.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Seattle still has a lot of problems fundamentally. I think a lot of that still stems from Dan Quinn having moved on, being the former defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, moving on to being the head coach of the Falcons, and of course he's doing great things there. Once he left, that team just kind of lost their anchor. And they're still good. They're still formidable. I mean, they're still, very much the Legion of Boom, and for good reason. But they lost a step somewhere. And that Rams defense looks really good. Jared Goff is looking really good. Todd Gurley has just been explosive this year.
Yep.
So, it's with just slight hesitation that I want to say that the Rams right now look like they might be the better team than Seattle. So, I'm fairly confident in saying that the Rams are going to beat Seattle, and there's going to be a whole lot of angry 12s in the Los Angeles Stadium. Yeah.
This is one of those games where I'm kind of interested to hear Paige's pick, because this might be one where she's able to kind of pull ahead 1 point. If both of us are agreeing and she picked the Seahawks, I wouldn't falter for it, but...
No. Yeah,
She's got the
no, she actually
possibility.
picked the Rams. Like, we
Yeah, there you
all
go.
feel very
Unanimous.
similarly that the Rams are going to be the better team this week. Yeah. This is also a really interesting game because the Rams have pulled ahead as the leaders of the NFC West, which, for the last several years has been a highly contested division. And this is going to be one of those games that ends up defining what happens with this division when the playoffs start rolling around. Like, this is going to be an early win, a decisive win that I think it's going to be in the Rams' favor, and they're gonna pull ahead, and they're going to be a commanding force in that division, and they're going to make a play for the playoffs. I think ultimately, which feels weird to say, but if I had to make an early prediction, I would say the Rams are going to take the division. The Seahawks maybe have a shot at the wild card. I don't know. It's too early to say wild card at this point, but yeah, this is starting to look like the division for the taking for the Rams if they want it, if they really want it. So unanimous
We'll see.
Rams. So
Yeah, it'll be a fun game to watch either way.
yeah. This will not be a fun game to watch. The Ravens at the Raiders.
Yeah, this is the exact opposite of a fun game to watch.
This is not going to be a fun game to watch because the Ravens are a mess.
They are
And
a
the
mess.
Raiders were looking really good. But again, like we said before, Derek Carr is out with a significant back injury. He could be out anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, which leaves a large hole in that offense and leadership for that team. I'm still going to pick the Raiders just because I think that defense is going to be more than a handful for Flacco's offense, and the Ravens just don't have it this year. So it's going to be, I think the Raiders are going to feel that. They're going to feel Derek Carr being gone. They're going to feel it significantly, both in terms of production and just morale. But I got to say that the Ravens' morale is probably going to be like in the floor at this point. So, yeah. I don't expect it to be a high-scoring game. I don't expect it to honestly be a particularly exciting game, as we've said. But I got to go Raiders still.
Yeah, I think we see Flacco take shots downfield occasionally with Mike Wallace and Macklin, but I think that they've got some injuries too, and I think they've been too wildly inconsistent to keep up with the Raiders, who I think have been, if not consistent, they've been somewhat consistent, I would say, this season, but they've definitely got more power behind that team. They've got more gumption, I would say.
Yeah. They had a serious roadblock with that Redskins defense last week or 2 weeks ago, and I think that kind of affected them coming into the Broncos game last week too. But I mean, if this is a game they're going to bounce back with or without Derek Carr, this is going to be the week to do it. So yeah, I think it's going to be the case there. And Paige, from what I can see, agrees. So I think it's unanimous on the Raiders. So that's how bad you are, Baltimore.
I wouldn't be surprised if we were all unanimous with these back half picks.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, they are better games in the first half of the week, but they are somewhat, I think, predictable. We might see a little bit of contention with this next game, Packers at the Cowboys. So you're nodding your head if you want to go ahead and take the lead on this one. I'm assuming you have a well-formed opinion.
Yeah, no, not entirely.
No.
I just think that games to watch. This one is definitely one. I don't think it's because either team is ultimately fantastic. I think that they've both got some significant weak points that they need to work out. The Packers are coming off a win of a pretty big game for them, I think, usually when they play the Bears. But I also don't think it was ultimately surprising to see them take that W. So the Cowboys, I have no idea what to think about the Cowboys this season. They've been up and down for me, similar to the Ravens in that wildly inconsistent way, but much, much better. So I'm going to pick the Cowboys this week, and I feel really hesitant about that.
Okay. Yeah, the Cowboys it's really difficult to gauge the Cowboys. Coming into the season, I really thought they were going to be a powerhouse and just be like an instant lock for the NFC East and going on to the playoffs. And I mean, they haven't really sustained significant injuries. Like, nothing has really slowed that team down. They're just not gelling as well as they could be for some reason. On the flip side, that Packers defense is still severely lacking. Devontae Adams, well, not necessarily a huge loss for them if he ends up not playing. It still limits Aaron Rodgers in his weapons. Ty Montgomery might be out as well, which means his backup running back might, play a significant role. But I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is so picky and choosy about who he throws to every game anyway, so it could be Jordy Nelson and Cobb all night long. I don't know. It's hard to gauge. I'm going to go Cowboys as well, just because I still, for whatever reason, want to give them the benefit of the doubt that somehow they're going to figure that shit out and make it work. It'll be a true test for them against that powerhouse offense. I don't know if it's fair to call them a powerhouse offense at this point. They were a powerhouse last season, not so much this season, the Packers. My predictions are Zeke has a great night because that Packers run defense sucks butt. Aaron Rodgers throws one interception and has a hissy fit. And I'm going to say Dak Prescott rushes for one touchdown.
That's DT's hot take of the week, everybody. Yeah, I like it. I think if we're both wrong and the Packers pull this out, it's because Jordy Nelson has a hot week for the second week in a row. Last week he took off to my detriment, which is very unfortunate. But I wouldn't be surprised to see it, but I'm really hoping that Cowboys can pull this one out.
Yeah,
they've had some wins, but they've been against some teams that were a little bit more on the pushover side.
Yeah. I think if the Packers win this week, it's clearly because Paige has made a pact with Satan. She doesn't want to wear a Seahawks jersey because she has picked the pack to win this week.
Ooh, okay.
She's going against the pack and picking the pack. So, I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see, yeah.
This is going to be one of my games to watch now, definitely.
Yeah, no, this is where it starts getting fun. I'm glad that we're disagreeing more. We've got split opinions on how these games are going to go because this is when the scores and the picks are going to wildly vary, and when everybody's going to get scared that they're going to be stuck wearing that fucking shit jersey that they don't want to wear next season. So, Cowboys, Packers. Okay. So, Chiefs and Texans. So, last week the Chiefs played the Redskins, and that game just looked boring as fuck for like the first quarter, maybe the first half. It didn't start really getting good until the second half, and then it actually became a decent, fun game. But we kind of saw Alex Smith kind of backslide a little bit. He was rushing like a motherfucker, but like Tyreek Hill was a complete non-entity the entire night. Like they shut him down even when Josh Norman was off the field with an injury. He had to retire to the locker room for the night. He was non-existent at all. He was non-existent the entire night. But yeah, Alex Smith was rushing, but he wasn't throwing because he wasn't able to because that Redskins defense was just stout all night long. They managed to squeak by with a win because they rallied in the fourth quarter, and they looked really good doing it. I'm going to say they win again this week against the Texans, even though that defense is really stout. I think that Andy Reid is a really good mind for both defense and offense. I think they're going to be watching that game tape like crazy. They're going to realize what mistakes they made, and I think we're going to see Alex Smith kind of return to form from that stumble he had this past week, even though they've won. And I think it's going to be exciting to watch him doing against that Texans defense.
Yeah, I think the Texans have been ramping up this season. They've progressively gotten better, which is good to see, especially like you mentioned with the defense. But I don't think that they've got what it takes to take down the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. So I've got Chiefs this week.
Yeah.
That's. I don't think I can say anything more than you've already kind of touched on.
Yeah, I think it's also significant to add that I think the Chiefs might still be the only undefeated team this season, and what that brings with it is just an incredible level of morale and brotherhood and just a sense of pride. And I think they're going to come out just fucking swinging, and they're going to be fighting tooth and nail to hold on to that undefeated record because they're definitely going to want to go 0-5 on Sunday Night Football. Or, I'm sorry, 5-0 on Sunday Night Football. So, I think they are going to just play like motherfuckers, and I think they're going to leave the Texans just a little bit dazed.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to take a look at last week and see what the Texans were doing offensively to kind of exploit the Titans, and the Chiefs are going to be able to accommodate. And I don't think the Texans are going to be able to stack up. So
Yeah. And my hot take for this game is that Tyreek Hill bounces back from having that absolutely non-existent game last week, and he's going to get 2 touchdowns. And
solid.
it's not just because he's on my fantasy team.
I
I think he's going to bounce back. I think Alex Smith is going to want to make a statement, and I think Tyreek Hill is the receiver to make that statement with.
He is.
So
yeah.
I think those two are going to just force their way into it. They're going to find a way to make it work, and they're going to do some explosive things. And Paige agrees, so we are unanimous on the Chiefs. So apparently, the Chiefs versus the Texans is not a safe place to gamble with your picks this week. So stick with the Chiefs because apparently that's the safe pick, or so we say. So, last game of the week, Monday Night Football.
That it is.
It's not a great game. It's the Vikings at the Bears. We said early on that, of course, the Bears have decided to bench Mike Glennon. Finally. Fucking finally. But what that means is they're going to be bringing up into the starter role their rookie quarterback that they just drafted this past April, Mitch Trubisky. So, like I said before, if you have got the Vikings defense sitting on your bench and your fantasy team, now might be the week to play them because it's always a very exciting prospect to start a defense against a rookie play caller for the first time. I'm going to take the Vikings for that exact reason.
Yep.
This might be a chance for the Bears to turn it around. I hope Trubisky does something for them because I have nothing against the Bears, and it's just been sad watching them flounder season after season. I think a lot of it has to do with John Fox, but we can get into that maybe another time if we wanted to.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm very, very cemented in my pick that the Vikings are going to beat the Bears in Chicago. So, sorry, Bears.
Yeah, I don't think that we mentioned earlier the Vikings haven't been able to do anything really spectacular yet, even though we kind of expected them to ramp up a little bit. I think the Bears are capable of making all of their games relatively close. They've been able to do that this season. I still think the Vikings are going to pull this one out, though. I think they've got the better team, especially with a quarterback that's not tried and true. He doesn't really could come out and have a big game, which would be kind of great to see, and then it would be kind of a good talking point moving forward for the season. But I don't think they're going to be able to do that. I think the Vikings just have it.
Yeah, I would be pleasantly surprised if Mitch Trubisky came out and he was just amazing and dynamite and fantastic. It would always warm my heart to see a rookie play caller come in and be the underdog and kick ass against a divisional rival. It'd be great. It would make for a great story all week. I don't see it.
Nope.
It'd be a hell of a Cinderella story if that were the case, but I don't see it against that Vikings defense. I just don't. So,
how much is Paige trying to pull away? Are we anonymous?
We are unanimous on this.
I said anonymous.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, we are anonymous on this. Yeah.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. We're unanimous.
Picked up an accent.
Yeah. I don't know what accent that would be.
I don't know either. It sounds like exactly.
Long Island or something. I don't know. Unanimous. So that's it for football. What else have we got? What else we got to talk about?
I will be missing next week, unfortunately, everybody. But fortunately, I am.
I wouldn't say unfortunately. You better hope Sammy doesn't see this.
No. I'm unfortunately missing the podcast, but very fortunately, I am getting married this Saturday. So pretty stoked about that.
Yeah.
Incredibly excited.
That is pretty fucking awesome. And I'm in the wedding, so I'm special
to
everybody. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's going to be a really good time. Our family is a fucking blast. If you are already aware by watching these videos, I expect a super fun wedding. Just a really fun, I don't want to say batshit, because we'll all be on our best behavior, but it's going to be a really fun reception. Yeah. Debaucherous, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
The Carroll clan is a lot of fun. And we're all going to be drinking and dancing and eating delicious food. And that's two things we do really well. I don't know about that third one. But yeah.
You can consult with one of our league veterans. My pops is in our fantasy league and loves talking about that Thursday night football game. We'll see. I don't think the Bucs are going to pull anything out, so we might not have too much to talk about. But, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. So it'll be me and Paige next week. Alex will be in Hawaii,
Yes,
drinking
sir.
Mai Tais and wearing leis and swimming in with dolphins and I don't know all the other stuff you do in Hawaii.
Yeah. Kayaking. We're going kayaking. I'm stoked.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. See if they have any local breweries in Hawaii for beer. That'd be really cool to check out. And
I have
if you
scoped
find
it
a
out
really
a
good
little
one. Get your beloved cousin a pint glass
Right on. Yeah,
from
definitely.
a local Hawaii brewery. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'll pay you for it.
Oh, no. I've scoped it out a little bit. I think they maybe got one brew. I know they have Kona Brewing. I don't think it's on Kauai, the island that we're going to be staying on. But yeah, I don't know if we make it around there, then I definitely will. But we'll see. I know we're definitely going to try to find a coffee plantation, and I've been really scoping out getting interested in brewing my own beer. So if that's a venture that I do eventually undertake, then you guys will definitely hear about it.
Sweet. Yeah, if you get a chance, I dated a girl several years back who actually lived on Maui for a little while, and she said that Maui is where all the parties are. So if you guys get a chance, if you can like spend a night, like jump on a ferry or something and go to Maui and just hit up the clubs, I've heard it's just fucking. She was there because she lived there for like a year or so, and she very famously told me about this one night where she met Prince and she danced with Prince.
What? And then they made an episode of New Girl about it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But apparently Maui's where all the cool kids hang out, so if you get the opportunity to do that, swing over to Maui for a night. Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
So
Check it out.
Yeah, so I guess that does it for week 5 of the second draft. I had fun.
Yeah,
Alex,
me
you
too.
had fun?
I'm really hoping that next week we can come back and say that we made some pretty astute picks, because this kind of week 4 recap was disheartening, to say the least.
The last 2 weeks have been very strange.
They have been strange. They've been strange. Let's hope for straight and narrow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want football to become pedestrian and predictable.
Of course,
but I do feel like I know a thing or two about football, and the last 2 weeks have made me feel like I should maybe just switch to hockey full time.
you realize when you can see online, if you follow similar news sources to me, I'm sure you do, but I don't know about those who are tuning in. You saw everybody get kind of quiet this week with the recap, saying, they weren't saying much about I anticipated this trouncing of the Texans, but
nobody said,
nobody saw that happen.
Houston's going to put up 57 points. Yeah, I called that shit. No, nobody called that shit.
No.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, yeah. It's throwing everybody for a loop, but it's throwing everybody for the exact same loop across the board, which is kind of fun, but
it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see how this week pans out. We'll see what it looks like when we come back next week. Alexless. But Paige will be here, and we'll see where our picks counts stand, and how much closer Alex will be to rocking that Khalil Mack jersey next season. What's going to be great is
my picks.
I'm already formulating it in my head. Like, we're going to make you do every year's podcast next season facing backwards, so we can just see that Mac across your back all week, every week. Yeah.
Nah, it's not going to happen. I think I've got one pick to pull away this week, but I think later on is that I've been banking on midseason, obviously, since we started kind of rough. But I think we're going to get into more, later in the mid games. I think we're going to get into some points of contention, and I might have a chance there to slip away. I might have to make some wild bets, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting for everybody who's watching these videos too, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's a good note to end on.
Signing off from the second draft, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Good luck. Yeah.
Good night. Now back to you in the studio.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. We love and appreciate you. And, looking forward to next week as always.
Leave us a comment on your picks.
Yeah, if you think we're completely and utterly full of shit and you think you could do better, then please let us know down below. Maybe we should start featuring the best comments every week in the podcast. We do like a recap of the comments below or something.
I like that idea.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But yeah, if you agree with us, let us know as well, because we like to talk shit. And we like shit being talked to us because it enables us to talk more shit, and that's what being a football fan and drinking an obscene amount of beer every week is all about. So participate.
Yeah, controversy.
Please, if you want.
This is what we want.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes, we want to argue. We want to be the most hated channel on YouTube besides fucking PewDiePie. So, thank you guys, and we hope you enjoyed this week's football. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you next week.
See you next week. Except not me.
No, not you, because you're going to get married. We'll see
married.
you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks, folks.
When you're a mature, married gentleman with a full beard.
Yes.
2 feet down to your chest and some gray hairs and 3 children. Okay, 2 children. Yeah.
And that's a wrap.
I'm calling that done. Yeah.
I met a guy at Papago Brewing one time that was like, I'm 29 and I'm retired because I developed an app one time. And I was like, you're full of shit. And he's like, whatever, I'm going to the strip club.